The sky split open. It wasn't thunder, and it wasn't the artificial hum of Vorati warcraft. It was deeper, older, like Earth itself was exhaling rage. Burning streaks ignited the clouds, descending fast. The invaders looked up too late. A Vorati enforcer barked in its native rasp. Unregistered orbital entry detected! Then the first pod struck. A shockwave rolled through the shattered streets of what used to be Manhattan. Steel, rubble, and alien bodies scattered as the capsule cracked open. Steam hissed, releasing a silhouette draped in scorched armor. Captain Elias Reyes stepped into the ruins like a phantom summoned from legend. He didn't speak. He didn't need to. His rifle was already up, sight aligned. The Vorati staggered, reeling from the concussive blast, hesitating just long enough for Reyes to pull the trigger. 3 bodies dropped. The 4th tried to run. Reyes didn't bother chasing. A clean shot clipped the beast mid-turn. Another pod hit, then another. The Celestial Battalion had arrived. From rooftops and alleys, humans emerged, slaves and survivors who had forgotten what resistance looked like. For a breathless second, they stared at the armored warriors falling from the sky. And for the first time in 30 years, someone fought back. Lieutenant Mirachin emerged from her drop pod, adjusting her helmet. "Zone secure, Captain?" Reyes gave a curt nod. "Sweep left. Rally point, Grand Central Ruins. Time is short." The team moved without hesitation, a dozen soldiers fanning out with mechanical precision. Reyes checked his HUD, communication still jammed. Vorati interference field. Not unexpected. But they weren't here to broadcast. They were here to cut off the snake's head. They advanced through fractured streets. Vorati patrols scrambled, unprepared. The Celestial Battalion's tactics were alien even to the aliens, guerrilla, unpredictable, fluid. Urban combat was Earth's home turf. Reyes made sure of it. "Reyes," Mira said, drawing up beside him. "You realize what this means, right? If this strike works—" "I know," he cut her off. "But if we hesitate, it won't." Mira nodded. She knew better than anyone how much he had riding on this. He wasn't here for medals. Not after what happened on Invasion Day. Their path took them past the crumbled statue, its face long eroded, but still recognizable. Lady Liberty, buried up to her crown in dust and ash. Reyes paused only briefly. "They didn't just occupy us," Mira said quietly. "They erased us." Reyes answered without looking. "Then we remind them who we were." A crackle broke through their comms, fragmented, garbled. Then clearer. "Human unit sighted near 5th and Broadway. Repeat, Earth force is here." "Damn it," Reyes muttered. "Local cells are breaking cover too early." "Should we fall back?" Mira asked. "No. This is bigger now. We push. If they're drawing fire, we give the Vorati more to worry about." The battalion quickened pace. They moved like shadows through a haunted city, turning wreckage into ambush points. They didn't waste shots. Every bullet told a story, and each story ended with a dead alien. By the time they reached Grand Central, the air was thick with smoke and fire. The once iconic station had become a Vorati transport nexus, buzzing with gunships, drones, and armored guards. Reyes knelt behind a rusted bus, surveying the outpost. "They've reinforced it more than expected. Still think this is the best infiltration point?" Mira asked. "It's not about what's best. It's what we've got." He handed her a detonator. "Set charges here and here." He pointed to the east and west access tunnels. "I'll draw their fire straight through the main entry." Mira blinked. "That's suicide." "That's distraction," he corrected. "You're the fallback if this fails." She hesitated. "You always plan to die first, don't you?" "Someone has to." She locked eyes with him, nodded once, then vanished into the smoke with her squad. Reyes moved forward alone. He stepped into the open, gun raised, armor reflecting firelight. Vorati eyes locked on him. A siren screamed. Spotlights ignited. Then came the hiss of plasma rifles powering up. "Human combatant identified. Terminate! Reyes sprinted forward. He didn't bother dodging. The suit took most hits, adaptive plating absorbing shocks, but the heat still bit. He slid behind a cargo freighter and lobbed 2 shock grenades over the top. They exploded with a blinding flash, disrupting the Vorati's visual implants. He emerged firing, short, controlled bursts. The alien screamed as rounds punctured synthetic armor. A gunship veered toward him. Too slow. Reyes dove under its side, attached a magnetic charge, and rolled away just as it exploded in a bloom of flame. The explosion lit the entire terminal, and triggered the detonations Mira had placed. The east and west tunnels erupted in fire, collapsing inward. Confusion rippled through the enemy ranks. That's when Myra's voice crackled back in. Fire team in position. You still breathing, Cap? Barely. Move in. Clean this up. The battalions surged into the opening Reyes had carved. Like wolves unleashed, they tore through the remaining forces. Reyes fell to one knee, chest heaving, vision swimming. A civilian emerged from a collapsed corner, an elderly woman, trembling, her face half burned but eyes wide with awe. She approached slowly. You're from the sky, she whispered. Reyes gave a tired smile. No, ma'am. I'm from Earth. I just came home the hard way. The woman nodded, tears falling freely. They told us no one would come. Reyes looked past her, at the liberated station, at the fallen enemy, at his battered but unbroken soldiers. Then they were wrong. He tapped his comm. Mira, tell command Phase 1 complete. Earth fights back. And somewhere, high above the clouds, the stars burned just a little brighter. The city breathed like a wounded beast. Smoke curled through the gutted streets. Buildings leaned like drunk titans, hollowed by years of bombardment. Somewhere above, the distant rumble of collapsing infrastructure echoed like thunder. It wasn't weather. It was war, and it never stopped. Captain Elias Reyes pressed forward, rifle tight in his grip, his boots moving through gray puddles that smelled of metal and rot. The Grand Central Strike had cracked open a path, but the real mission still loomed, reached the Vorati Command Center, and cut off the head of the invasion. Lieutenant Mirachin jogged beside him, scanning rooftops with her sidearm raised. We're exposed here. I know, Reyes replied. But cutting through the ruins is faster. The longer we take, the more time XY car has to respond. He stopped near what had once been a bookstore. Its shattered windows framed a mural of a smiling family, still somehow untouched by fire. The father in the picture looked a little like Elias. That haunted him. Mira noticed. You okay? No. They moved on in silence. A block later, Private Lang radioed in from point. Captain, we've got movement, 3 Vorati patrols up ahead. Looks like a scout unit setting up signal beacons. If they get those up, they'll bring in gunships. Mira muttered. Reyes signaled his team to fan out. We hit them hard, fast. No stragglers. Take the leader alive if possible, we need intel. His squad moved like water, flowing into flanking positions. Reyes counted 3 Vorati through his scope, taller than humans, skin like black obsidian, their faces hidden behind insectal armor. He gave the signal. Gunfire erupted, sharp and surgical. The first 2 fell immediately. The third bolted, leaping onto a wrecked transport. Mira was faster, she fired twice, dropped him without hesitation. Reyes approached the corpses, his expression stone. No beacon, no backup. That's a win. Lang stepped forward. Sir, if they're deploying scouts this close to the core. They're nervous, Reyes finished. And when commanders get nervous, they make mistakes. Mira crouched beside a fallen Vorati, yanking a small data module from its wrist. This might help. Could be command protocols. Reyes nodded. Patch it through to the uplink once we reach the next safe zone. They pressed forward. Every street corner whispered of lost lives. Toys melted into pavement. Cars crushed beneath alien tread. Graffiti begged for help in languages no one spoke anymore. These weren't just ruins, they were graves. and every step scraped raw something inside Elias he hadn't dared touch in years. They passed a crumbling tenement building. He slowed. This was it, he said. Mira glanced over. What? This building, second floor. My sister lived here. Her eyes softened. You want to go up? No. I want to remember it how it was. Not how it died. They kept walking. Soon, the team reached the outer limits of Midtown, a battered commercial zone now patrolled by Vorati drones. Reyes led them through an abandoned subway tunnel, using old maps burned into his memory from pre-war days. These tunnels once carried millions. Now they held ghosts and traps. Inside the tunnel, it was pitch black, save for the soft blue glow of tactical HUDs. Mira walked quietly beside him. Back there, she whispered. When you said you're not okay, you didn't mean the mission, did you? Reyes didn't answer right away. I keep hearing their voices, he said finally. My niece, Sophia, she used to send me messages. Silly things. She'd sing. I haven't let myself play those recordings in years. Mira touched his arm. You're allowed to grieve, Elias. I don't have time for grief. I barely have time to breathe. Then let me carry some of it. Just a piece. He looked at her. For a second, the hard lines of command fell away, and he was just a man caught in a storm. He gave a small nod. The moment passed. They reached the tunnel's end and climbed into the ruins of a once bustling shopping plaza. Here, the Vorati had been sloppier, perhaps thinking no one would dare approach this deep. Reyes signaled a halt. Lang crouched beside him. Thermal shows 6 figures north, 20 meters. Not moving. Reyes scanned. Holding position. Could be a trap. Or a desperate human cell, Mira offered. We should check. They approached carefully. What they found wasn't a trap. It was a hiding place. 6 civilians, thin, pale, eyes wide with terror. A child clutched a stuffed dinosaur with half its head torn off. The adults stepped in front of him. Reyes lowered his weapon. We're not Vorati. You're Earth Force? One of them asked, disbelief thick in her voice. Mira smiled faintly. We're what's left of it. But we're here now. The woman collapsed to her knees, weeping. They told us no one was coming. They lied, Reyes said softly. But we're here now. And we're not leaving without a fight. The civilians were escorted back toward a temporary holding zone. They'd be safe, at least for now. Reyes knelt beside the child. What's your name, soldier? The boy hesitated. J. Jonah. Well, Jonah, I need you to be strong. Can you do that for me? Jonah nodded bravely. Elias stood. Mira fell into step beside him. This is why we came, she said. I know, he said quietly. And it's why we can't fail. A sharp buzz on his comm broke the moment. It was encrypted, raw static at first, then resolved into words. Unknown movement detected near southern corridor. Unusual patterns. Possible heavy unit. Be advised. Reyes's face darkened. XY car knows we're here. How far to the command node? Mira asked. 3 clicks. But from here on out, we're in his domain. Reyes adjusted his rifle, eyes sharp. Then let's knock on his door. They moved out, the city groaning behind them, alive with memories, sorrow, and the slow rise of something stronger than fear. The silence before it hit was worse than the impact. 1 second, Captain Elias Reyes and his battalion were moving through the ruins of Lower Manhattan, tight formation, every soldier alert. The next, the sky above shattered in a storm of screeching metal. A Vorati skirmisher drone slammed into the building beside them, detonating on contact. Concrete exploded outward. Fire kissed the air. Reyes hit the ground hard, ears ringing, vision blurred. He coughed, shoved broken debris off his chest, and staggered up. Incoming! Scatter! Myra's voice cut through the chaos. The ambush was a full assault. Dozens of Vorati troops spilled from hidden tunnel exits. Claws gleamed. Plasma rifles blazed. It was no patrol. It was a trap, and they were in the dead center. Reyes darted behind a rusted vehicle and pulled his sidearm, returning fire while scanning for his team. Mira was already coordinating return strikes, directing troops toward the flanking buildings. "Move west!" she yelled. "Second floor of the parking structure, elevated position." Reyes saw Lang dragging another soldier, wounded in the leg, toward cover. Blood smeared the ground. He ran to them, knelt beside the downed fighter. "Can you walk?" The soldier gritted his teeth. "I'll crawl if I have to." "No," Reyes said. "We get you up. Now." He helped sling the injured man's arm over his shoulder and moved, one step at a time, covering fire popping off around them. Plasma bolts melted holes into the asphalt behind. Mira reached the upper structure and unleashed a barrage from above. Sniper rounds cracked skulls, Vorati helmets shattered. But there were too many. They were relentless. They didn't fight like soldiers, they swarmed like a tide. "Captain?" Mira called out. "We're surrounded on 3 sides. If we stay, we're finished." Reyes scanned their surroundings. They couldn't retreat. And they couldn't hold position. His eyes locked on the collapsed overpass to the north, a half-destroyed connector above street level. "If we climb that, we can loop around," he said. "We'll be exposed. Better exposed than dead." He switched comms. "All units, regroup under the north ramp. We're punching through in 60 seconds. Move fast, shoot faster." The team responded with a flurry of motion. Lang laid cover fire. 2 others launched smoke grenades that cloaked the street in gray fog. Reyes charged ahead with Mira beside him, weaving through the haze. One soldier didn't make it. A Vorati pounced from the smoke and dragged him back into the dark. They heard the scream. They didn't turn back. Reyes vaulted over a broken guardrail, leading his squad up the tilted span of the ruined overpass. The incline groaned. The blast blew open the Vorati command tower's entrance with a roar that shook the foundations. Flames licked the air as twisted steel and black glass scattered like shrapnel across the stone floor. Captain Elias Reyes led the charge, his boots crushing the debris of the last barrier between humanity and the core of its tormentor. "Clear the atrium!" he ordered. The battalion surged in behind him. The walls shimmered with alien tech. Pulsing veins of energy coursed upward toward a massive central column. Automated defense drones dropped from ceiling pods. The team didn't flinch. Plasma, bullets, and calculated fury lit the air. Elias dove left, rolled behind a console, and fired 3 times. Sparks flew as a drone crumpled. To his right, Lang took out another mid-flight with a shoulder rocket. A voice rang out, deep and electric. Not from speakers, but from the walls themselves. "So, the primitives found courage." General HFY's voice. Smooth, but soaked in contempt. Reyes snarled. "Courage wasn't the problem. We were just busy burying our dead." A hologram of the Vorati leader flickered into form, standing 30 feet away above the command platform. Tall, armored in obsidian plates, his 4 eyes glowed like coals. And behind him, a column of pulsing data strands fed into an enormous neural interface. The alien's real body stood just beyond it. "I had hoped to witness your extinction from orbit," HFY said. "Instead, I shall crush you here, among your ruins." Reyes motioned to Lang. "Plant charges on that uplink node. Take down their comm grid. We end it now." Lang moved, covering himself with suppressing fire. Reyes turned and began climbing the spiral ramp leading to the command platform. "You call yourselves warriors," HFY scoffed as Reyes ascended. "But you weep. You cling to memories like children." Reyes kept climbing, never slowing. "We remember," he said. "That's what makes us dangerous." HFY leapt down from the platform. Towering over Reyes, he drew a 2-pronged energy blade crackling with power. "Then remember this." The first blow came hard and fast. Reyes blocked with his forearm shield, barely. Sparks flew. He slid back, boots scraping. Reyes countered with a jab to the ribs, then a knee to the thigh. The alien staggered a half step. You fight like a survivor, HFY said, circling. Not a victor. I fight like Earth. The alien lunged. Blade met armor. The crackle of energy seared Reyes's shoulder. He grunted but twisted under the next swing, slamming his rifle stock into the alien's jaw. HFY reeled. Reyes pressed in. He ducked a return strike and fired point blank into the Varadi's abdomen. The plasma scorched but didn't pierce. You think pain stops me? HFY laughed. My kind were bred for conquest. Reyes spat blood. And mine were born from struggle. The floor shook. Down below, Lang's charges detonated. The neural column split with a scream of feedback. Sparks rained. The tower's light dimmed. HFY roared. He charged, desperate now, feral. Reyes waited, then sidestepped at the last second and drove his combat knife into the exposed joint under HFY's left arm. The alien howled, dropping to one knee. Reyes kicked the blade deeper with a sharp boot to the elbow joint. Then, he grabbed the alien's blade arm, twisted it hard, and snapped it with a crunch. HFY slumped, gasping. You are flawed, the general hissed. You protect the weak, and die for them. Reyes crouched, gripping the back of the alien's skull. We live for them. And then he drove the alien's face into the ground with brutal force, once, twice, until the glow in its eyes flickered and died. The room went silent. Reyes stood. Blood on his armor. Smoke rising behind him. He turned to see Mira at the entrance, leaning on a soldier for support, watching him. You win? She asked, breathless. Reyes nodded. He won't be coming back. She gave a weak smile. Good. Outside, the sky was changing. With the command node down, the Varadi network collapsed in real time. Their patrols stopped mid-step. Drones spiraled out of control. The main ship hovering over the city began to retreat, directionless and leaderless. Cheers erupted from scattered human cells still fighting. Radio chatter flooded Reyes's comms, uprisings igniting in London, Cairo, Jakarta. The moment had come. Earth was fighting back, everywhere. Mira limped toward him. What now, Captain? Reyes looked out over the broken city. Now we rebuild. They left the tower as the sun broke through the clouds for the first time in weeks. Real light, not fire, not explosions. Warm and gold. It bathed the city in a quiet that felt almost sacred. Below, children emerged from rubble. Families climbed from hiding places. Eyes turned upward, searching the skies for signs of more war, and finding only sunlight. Lang found a flag, torn, soot-stained, faded red, white, and blue, and raised it atop the tower's remains. A small gesture, but one that echoed. Reyes stood beside it, watching the horizon. Is it over? A boy's voice asked. Reyes turned. It was Jonah, the same child they'd rescued days earlier. Holding his toy dinosaur. Covered in dust, but standing tall. No, Reyes said. But we've just begun winning. The boy nodded and ran back toward his mother. Mira stepped beside him. You think they'll come again? Probably, Reyes said. But next time, they'll remember what happened when Earth got back up. A moment passed. The wind carried ash and hope. Reyes watched the battered streets fill with people, with life. He watched the city breathe again. Then he turned to his team, those who remained, and gave one final order. Let's go home. The last war cry of Earth had ended. But its voice would never be silenced again.